So the United States has a lot of problems. This administration is facing off with crises in Iran, Saudi Arabia, the Gulf, Syria, Venezuela with the Russians. But really what is happening is that we need to get it cleared at home. We need to have a unity over our national security vision. At this point in time, I may say we don't have that unity. So focus should be first at home to make sure that the mainstream political forces agree that we should not be part of the Iran deal, agree that we should be fighting ISIS and Al-Qaeda, and agree also that there is an ideology out there we need to confront. If we don't have that agreement, I think it's going to be much more difficult for our foreign policy to have results.
Well, stocks are falling after President Trump says that the United States is going to impose an additional 10% tariffs. This on the $300 billion in Chinese imports that aren't tariffed yet. Joining me now is Fox News national security analyst Waleed Phares. You know, Waleed, really interesting because when the delegation came back, both sides, China and the United States, put out a communique saying that the talks were constructive, but there was nothing about Huawei, which has become serious bone of contention. Maybe that angered China, but on the other side of this, we know President Trump's upset because they haven't lived up to the lowest, anticipated promises they've made. How does this change our dynamics, particularly on a national security front?
Very many areas will be affected. But first of all, let me ask Charles, are we here in Washington and maybe in New York united on how to deal with China? That needs a segment by itself. But let me say that our issue with China is not comparable to anything else, neither with Iran, North Korea, or Russia, because China is competing with us on all these levels. The tariff battles is one by itself. Then China geopolitics, South Asia, South China Sea and Africa and elsewhere. And of course, China can become an ally of our foes, such as buying more from Iran oil if they can break that measure that we are having with them, coordinating with Russia. So China is really becoming the main competitor that we have in the international scene now.
There's no doubt about that. And of course, they've spread their presence around in part to their debt diplomacy and other measures, this reverso Marco Polo Silk Road thing, which has lured a lot of our European allies into this as well. That it seemed like some may be picking Chinese money over their long-standing friendship with America. But it's all part and parcel to your point that they want to be the preeminent power in the world. They want to beat what America is right now. So that means financially, economically, and militarily as well, right?
They do, with one little difference. They forget sometimes that they are ruled by one communist party. They forget sometimes that they have a lot of problems on inside of China. Should it be the territorial problems, the ethnic problems? They have an issue with Taiwan. They are linked to North Korea. And of course, they have this thing that they are not even expecting. Their own society, by getting all these goodies and all this technology, at one point in time, are going to refuse the older generation. So China, within the 10 years to come, may find a lot of problems in its domestic politics as well.
Yeah, I mean, we know about their success and they're minting millionaires, but we also know there are hundreds of millions of folks who still haven't joined in that economic revolution. And those who have, to your point, they want democracy, they want independence. In fact, our biggest allies over there probably would be the independent business community, wouldn't it?
That would start there, of course. I mean, this is where all the reforms and revolutions will start. What's happening in Hong Kong, by the way, if you focus a little bit on the inner structure of that movement, it may reach China. I mean, the problems the Chinese leadership has may not be in New York and Washington. It may be in Hong Kong, Shanghai, and other places as well.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so, just for humanity's sake. Waleed, always appreciate our conversations. Thank you very much.